Thank you for listening. This is the ZoliArt Montana podcast. My name is Linda, here with Zoli Althea Brown. So, Zoli, you say that a lot of seemingly non-spiritual things truly join us together with the Ray 7 energies of Aquarius, that idea that more than one person is needed. Can you give me some examples of that?
Oh, that's so delightful. It's just absolutely delightful. We talked on the radio show about you can see on YouTube these bands of 1,000 or 500 people, all the different instruments, the singers just joyful. They're in a stadium and they're working together. They're individual, but they're working together towards a unified sense. And that is how the Aquarian age works. Does that mean you can't do anything by yourself? No, that's not what it means. But to do it in a way that it will be accepted the best, I think, when we join with others, it is the beginning of a revolutionary evolution in humanity. The Piscean age was let's all go into the monasteries, let's hum, let's do whatever, let's beat ourselves with sticks, whatever, to try to get out of the physical body, whatever we were doing. That did that for about 2,500 years. And we are clearly in Ray 7. Ray 7 is ceremonial order. Think about how cool that is. It's parades. It's anybody, when you join together with other people in joy or for a purpose. Protests, hopefully not turning into riots, but protests are very important because you speak out. And the United States here, you're in Canada, but it's important for our First Amendment to be able to speak your piece and speak your truth. So those things are being challenged in a way, and I think partially because this seventh ray is so important. The Sturgis rally, thousands of motorcycles, that's kind of Ray 7 too. It really is. So it's not limited to spiritual things, but it can have a spiritual meaning. Think how cool it will be, and we will get there, when you have millions of people all over the world joining together to invoke or pray, whatever they do, for a good solution to things. That's some powerful stuff. It's really powerful. We talk at ZoliArt about working in collaboration with each other, with you, with Tina, with artists, with musicians, whatever. And we do that for the common purpose of creativity. Then we let it go. You let it go and you let it become its own. It's like you have a kid going to college and you let them go, and hopefully they'll do some things that are cool. You never know. There'll be some acting out here and there, whatever. But we let things go. And that is the allowance of the energy that you created. The seventh ray Aquarian is social, but it's not. That's my interpretation of it. Aquarians are always out there. My birth mother was Aquarius. My dad was Aquarius, my adopted dad. They're amazing human beings. My husband's grandson, Liam, is an Aquarian. They are out there. And the reason they're out there is they're picking stuff up that the most of us don't really get yet. And so their job is to do that and enact it. And as you're bringing it into this reality, into the five physical senses, what happens? It can be shared. And Ray 7 really is about sharing divinity. You share what's precious to you. You share what's precious to other people, and you bring it in a physical form. Because if it's not in a physical form, it's an abstract ideal just way out there in woo-woo land. That could be kind of fun. But you want to do something good. You want to leave your mark in somewhere.
What it's important about what you're saying is the getting out of yourself in order to allow your energy to connect with others so that you can create something bigger than both of you or bigger than the group itself. And when you go past the spiritual, you can see that in things like you're talking about bands with lots of musicians coming together or collaborations on projects.
That's so well put. We want to join together. And as we do that, there's some magic that happens when you're melding energy with other people. It's unspoken, it's divinity. And it's divine because there's a piece of us that we have to let go of. And we're so focused on our personality all the time, the egoic aspect of who we are. When we do that, we kind of have to let go of it. Hey, tell about the ostrich thing in Canada that you told me about. This is so cool. It's so Ray 7. The power
Yeah.
of voice.
An example of like-minded people that aren't connected in any other way except for a cause that they believe in and they want to speak out about. There's an ostrich farm in Canada, and the government, the Canadian Food and Inspection Agency, called for them to be culled because of avian flu. They're healthy birds. They've been tested negative. The farm didn't want to kill them, and so they started reaching out to everyone they knew and said, help us save these birds. Ostriches live for such a long time. They're part of our family. They're used for research. They live free here in Canada, and we don't want these ostriches to have to be put down. And slowly, people from all walks of life and internationally started hearing about this and standing up for them, and even going to the farm and saying, no, we're not going to just sit idly by while this happens. We're not going to allow this to happen. And it kept getting delayed in court for this reason, so it wasn't able to happen. And as the inspectors were coming in for the call, a Native American group joined forces with them and said, no, we need to really look at why we have to do this. And again, it's paused as of September 2025. So who knows how it will turn out, but it just goes to show you that people who had no idea there were ostriches in Canada at all are saying, wait a minute, I believe that something needs to be done about this.
That is awesome. It kind of, when you talked about it, it kind of reminded me of Harry Potter with the hippogriff with Buckbeak getting rescued and Sirius Black flying him out. I think when we do those kind of things and we speak out, when we use our voice, you're using the heart chakra and you're speaking your truth. And we kind of have to let go of our expectation. We're going to try. And that's the power and the persistence of being able to join together, to protest, to speak out, to join something that's bigger than the self. Because the self is what we're trying to overcome. That personality, mine drives me crazy. The personality wants the gravity and it wants the emotions, it wants to demand. And so what? We work through it.
Right. We get stuck in ourselves. So maybe going beyond ourselves and focusing on that group stuff helps unstick. You see the skills in others that you don't see in yourself, and others see the same in you, which is what I find so beautiful about it.
Oh, that's well put. So well put. That we get out of the self and we join a bigger self. And to me, when I do those kind of things, I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know what it's going to become. We don't know what ZoliArt can become, the art, the music, the writing. We just do it because we're happy idiots. It's great to do. It's not really a business. It's a hobby of mine, but I love doing it and it gives me huge joy. So if anything I can say can inspire any of you to speak out and just be yourself in a way that you feel maybe you haven't been able to, and we can't always do that, but it's little bitty steps. It doesn't really have to be big. You know what's cool? Let me read you something. Y'all know that when I'm driving in Montana, I have to drive up the mountain to get home, 5 miles up a logging road. I get a lot of interesting stuff. I think the mountain talks to me. But this is what I thought, that I've spoken before about how our life is not a right, it's a gift. It's a gift that you have the grace of use by borrowing your soul's divinity to express it on earth. We have the grace of using this vehicle, the mind, the body, the spirit, to express just what you've been talking about. There's a grace of usage there. And you don't always have to effort to try. We hit this on this the other day. When we're trying, it doesn't have to always be a big fat effort. Sometimes you ride the thermals of God's grace that is gifted to you to allow God's will to move you forward. You're trying, your allowing of his effort is at times enough. And as we ride the divine thermals of God's breath, consider simplicity. That came very strongly to me because I was trying, you know me, I'm going to try, beat it till it falls apart. But the idea of looking at the hawks that were flying, they're just on the thermals and they're still getting, they're hawking, they're doing their thing and they're graceful and they're riding those thermals. They're getting where they need to go. They didn't effort. So I think there's times that both those things are appropriate, but to be able to speak out and to speak out with purpose and to speak out with a passion. I don't mean screaming, yelling, but you will feel that in your heart. And I think that's a precious thing is that we're given this grace of borrowing our mind, our body, our spirit to be able to give something back. Otherwise, what good is it?
You know, that gave me goosebumps. And I'm going to say something that's from me that just came from that. So it's not a ZoliArt thing. This just came to me from what you're talking about. Today, I was outside before recording this podcast, and high up in the top of a pine tree, there's a bald eagle. And bald eagles come through here once in a while, but they know they're a gift every time we see one. And it was just sitting easily at the top of the tree. And we had a conversation about how majestic it looked, but it made like nothing can get to it at that top of the tree. It's making it look so easy what it does. And as you were talking, I got the image of the eagle, and I thought about how Canada and the US has always worked together, kind of like the eagle migrates through here. It can be simpler, and it's one of those ideas of how a collaboration doesn't have to be complicated. We exist together. We are all here on this big island together, and it can be very natural.
Very well put. That is so cool. The bald eagle, that was the grace of its presence inspired you. And isn't it something about birds? They touch the earth, then they're in the air and they're in the starry night sky. They touch both things. They have earth, wind, and water, and the fire of the sun. Birds are very special to me. I think when you see an eagle like that, to me, it's kind of a cool sign that maybe I'm on the right track or maybe I got something I was supposed to. Then I'll forget about it in 10 minutes, but I think it's cool when it's happening.
It is. It's definitely. It's. I always take it as that type of sign as well, and I'm thankful. My kids usually sing the American anthem every time they see a bald eagle, which is
Oh,
cool too.
that is so cute. And what you said about the United States and Canada, Canada, I teach you guys about. Almost everybody that I work with is in Canada. It's just very comfortable to me.
Right.
And there is a sisterhood, and that will continue. Politicians, whoever is trying to do whatever, media, you can't break that symbol. I mean, we touch that's part of that. But I think there's something about the sisterhood that's always been there. And there's a divinity in that, and it will get stronger. Good things are coming.
I agree with that, and you can feel the energy of it, regardless of who's telling you what or why they're saying it. You can feel that connection, and other collaborations can be just as easy. I think we don't always allow it because we're so afraid of the outcome, but we can allow it to be more natural because we're in that energy now, is what you've been saying.
We are, and it feeds us and it surrounds us. It's like being in a sauna. You're going to be hot if you get in. And if you're in with other people, y'all are breathing the same air, you're in the same heated environment. And we are all on this earth together. It's a globe and we're all on it. So we're going to figure this out. This is still the old age that is warring. It's just fading out and it will fade out because we'll just get sick of doing it. It's useless and it won't work. Now, some wars are necessary. I'm not going to say that. I'm not saying that they're never, ever needed. But what we're doing now is we're ramping up out of fear. And so, what cures fear? Love overwhelms fear. But it's something that we just feel naturally as part of our limbic system. We are born with this limbic system, the reptilian brain, this ramp to protect us. It's just what it is. You need it. It's a gift. But as we age, as we grow, we learn to control those emotions. And I think that is the point that humanity can be at now in a little different way, learning to control the emotions, to be calm. to find some way to take the divinity in self and connect it with maybe just one other person. Then they'll connect that with one other person. Then you've got a triangle like a geodesic. It just takes one other person to create another triangle. That was the work. Oh boy, I read that in the 70s. I was doing research on Buckminster Fuller, the geodesic dome, the jungle gym, which I had as a kid. It's a half of a dome. It's on the ground. It's a triangle. You hang on it and fall off, whatever. But that's the idea of how the crop circles are connecting all over the world. And the purpose of the crop circles is to indicate their divinity, that they're harmless, that these people are here to help us. They've never not been here. They're all from our solar system, by the way. Most of the ships are made on Mars. It's nothing weird. It just is. The only thing weird is that we think we're the only ones here. Duh. It's ridiculous. But so what? We're silly. We'll grow out of it. And so the crop circles are showing wherever they are, they're also those patterns are also in the deserts. They're also under the water. They're places maybe in volcanoes. I don't know, but they're everywhere. And the purpose of that is to show where the patterns are for the new grid that will interconnect the entire planet. Think of an internet type thing, but it's in the ground itself. And that is where we will draw all of our electrical magnetic needs from the magnetism of the earth. It will be revealed to us at the time when we quit whacking each other. Because right now we'd use it for war purposes out of fear. So I think that humanity is going through an education, and it is a lessening of fear. That's why there's so much coming up. And yeah, the next couple of years might be weird. So what? We'll work it. We'll work through it. We'll figure it out.
That's all we can do. And we can't just say that the weirdness and the difficulty is making us affecting us. We can still try to bring love into everything. Back to the simplicity.
Yes, we have to keep trying. The masters don't become masters by becoming more complicated. They come within themselves and they become more simple. Somewhere around the end of the fourth degree, that simplicity is there. Their bodies are more light than matter, and we're all headed there. That is where each and every person on this planet can be, and we will be. Not tomorrow. You're not going to ascend, get off the new age throne. You're not going to think that you are more evolved than you are. You just can't make that happen. You can't lie your way out of it, right? So we're going to work through this. We have to do the work that's necessary. But I'm telling you, there's more beauty and there's more wonder in this world. And it's not a woo-woo thing. And I'm not trying to scam anybody by saying, oh, it's all wonderful. It's not. The world's a deep, dark, evil place. It's hard. There's been wars and battles in heaven going on. But to believe when somebody says, oh, the rapture's next week, they just don't want to pay their rent. I mean, come on. We will be here for a very long time because we're supposed to, and we're going to work it out. So don't let the internet or media or news or whatever scare you into giving up your hope and your dignity, because that's who and what you really are. And so are they.
That's such a gorgeous and helpful reminder, because it's so easy to feel like there's the tumultuousness of the collapse of the world is inevitable and all this horror is right in front of us. But all this love and beauty is right in front of us too.
The people who say that are scared. They're just scared. And you have to have pity on that and understanding that they don't know any better. They really don't. Otherwise, they wouldn't do that. Every week, I look at some of these sites on the internet. Well, no, the collapse didn't happen last week, but it's next week. Just wait. It's ridiculous. We're going to have hard times. Why? Because we got ourselves to this point. And the earth is heating up, and it's almost at the end of the cycle, from what I'm told by the Space Brothers. That sounds woo-woo and weird, but they're just people like us. That over the past 3 years, the earth has been approaching what they call a central sun. Now, I don't understand that, but apparently it's true. And so their advice, adapt or die. Where was it? And it was so cool to see this site. Is it Taiwan? Where they're really obsessed with shade and they're building these shade pavilions. So we are learning to do that. We're learning to desalinate ocean water. We're learning to create more shade. We will be growing food in different places. People will migrate and live in different places. Some places will become uninhabitable. At some point in time, was the Sahara an ocean? I don't know. But these are natural things that happen. Do we need to clean up the environment? Hell yeah. The plastics are ridiculous. Most of the plastic stuff is coming from Asia, by the way. They can't help it. Whatever. I'm not going to get into that because it's not my field. It's not even my job. My job is to be the happy idiot here in Montana, sitting here with stage makeup with my little outfit on, going, it's fine. It's okay. You can figure this out, which you can. But I was just downstairs before I came up. My husband was down there with his worker, Jared. These are great guys. Tom said, "Where do I find your videos?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. I don't look at them. I have no idea." So I said, "Oh, look, YouTube. You go to ZoliArt podcast, and there it was." And the reason we do the radio shows mainly is for the guys, because the guys are so visual. And when you're just listening, you're going to get it in a little different way. It was kind of comical. He said, "Yeah, that dress is really bright. Yeah, and there's a lot of light coming here." I said, "Did you hear what I said?" You know, he's a boy. He does this thing. Like, is there any more chicken? Yeah, I'll get you some more chicken. But so what? That's what we're supposed to do. He is exactly who he's supposed to be. He's my rock. Oh my God, he's hysterical. But I saw a different perspective there. I saw a different perspective. And so I was coming up the stairs thinking, isn't life divine? There are so many millions of personalities. We have over 8.5 billion people on the planet. That's a lot of personalities. So we got to figure this out, which we are. We are. We'll try.
Yeah, sometimes I reflect on how everyone's different gifts. Just having 3 kids, and they all came from me, but they're such different people. They all have different gifts and different personalities and different ways of being, and times that by 8 billion, and you have the solution to everything. If every one of those souls was given the chance to achieve what they're here to do and to pursue what they're skilled at.
That is a bumper sticker. You have the solution to everything. That is so true. And how do we get that? By communicating. The beauty of the internet, the wonderful aspect of this communication device is that we can connect with people all over the world just by a flip of a switch. It's not that difficult. We know how to do that. Kids being born today are going to see things that we can't even imagine. What's happening is the ease of communication will create a more peaceful environment. And that calm that we feel when we're invoking energy, meditating, or in prayer, or when we're helping somebody else, and we feel that calm is the simplicity that we're born to have. It's that gift of divinity. It's the divine feminine, and everybody has that. And that's what's coming. It is an amazing thing that's coming, and we're getting there slowly. The masters basically are saying, yeah, everything's going as it should. Is it a mess? Yeah. Like when I would run my farm, I'm out there and I like to run around barefoot a lot. Well, there's a lot of cow patties out there. I had to come in, wash my feet. But you're going to step in some stuff in life. You just are. You really are. So we have to clean up our act. We have to find a way to find something to agree with. I don't care what it is, just find something that people you disagree with. But I think you're allowed to have enemies. Maitreya addresses that and he says, you will have enemies, but you don't have to hate them. Enemies are people that don't wish you well, that don't want you to do well. We all got them. And if you think you don't, then you're not being yourself. Now that whacks out the New Age community. My New Age friends just balk at that. Zoli said, well, I'm sure I don't have any. I have none. I said, well, maybe you don't. Maybe you don't know about them. Don't go out without pepper spray. I don't know what to say. I don't know. But that's just my take on it. And I think by them saying that, they're saying, I don't want to have any. I want to be kind to everybody. Well, you can. You can be kind to your enemies, but look over your shoulder when you walk away. It's your situational awareness. That's important too.
Yeah. And it goes back to awareness of what somebody's purpose is in your life as well. Some people will be your enemies, or people that you're just not meant to relate to. And when you're aware, you can find those people where the collaborations come easy, like you and I. And it just fits, and you can feel, when you're aware, you can feel you're supposed to be working together. It goes smoothly. And that's where the simplicity is.
There are sacred contracts that we have with people. You and I have discussed this, that before we're born, sitting around the big campfire in the sky or whatever, the Starbucks in the astral room, I don't know. So, well, I'll meet you in Lubbock, Texas in 1978, and we'll do this, this, or this, and we will hate each other. Oh, yeah, that'll be fun. And we do this stuff, anything you can imagine. But sometimes your enemies are people that are from other lifetimes that you just have karma with. We all have it. And we resist it. We resist figuring it out because we're still in our mind back in that life where we were jerks to each other. We hear about it all the time, these repetitive patterns. But that's part of how we're figuring it out too. Countries have karmic relationships too, and that comes and that goes. So, I think if we can take things a little bit lighter and not be so reactive and try to take a breath before we respond, give it 3 seconds. If someone says something that we react to, okay, now I'm a little calmer. And we're calming that limbic system, those neurotransmitters, that GABA, that dopamine, everything's not spiking and causing us want to scream and yell and get arrested at the airport because we can't do whatever we want. And so it gets into the emotional maturity. We shouldn't get to do anything we want. We are living. Once you're out in public, you're in public, and everybody's got a phone. So I think discernment and valor and trying to demonstrate good behavior, a lot of that time is that grace of just soaring through it and not having to do anything.
It's beautiful. And it feels so hopeful that it's possible.
It is possible because we all experience that. You speak about how you raised 3 sons with your husband. Y'all are out there in a beautiful wooded area of Canada. That's divine to me. That's beautiful. But life goes up and down. Even though you're living in a beautiful place, it doesn't keep the emotions at bay. That if we look at our astrology chart, astrologer can say, okay, now in 2 years, you're going to go through some stuff. Here's how you can prepare yourself, but you're going to go through it. The astrology chart is like the weather. It's going to be stormy, but who knows what's going to happen during the storm? We do have that kind of control. And if we control our emotions, we can control what goes into our mouth and out of it. I think life might be a little easier for us. When I do that, my life goes great. When I don't, I feel like an idiot.
Yeah, I would say 90% of my problems are when I open my mouth when I could have just stayed quiet for a little longer.
Well, welcome to Earth. That's how we are. We want to participate. We want to join in things. We're social creatures. We want to participate and join in things. And a lot of times it's hard to discern what to say and what not to say. That's the point of raising kids in a good, wholesome way, where you learn that doesn't work. My husband's grandson comes to visit. He's 8. He's adorable. He's an Aquarian. He's an amazing human being, but he needs guidance. He's trying to learn social behaviors. He's trying to learn what works and what does not. And if you don't have good guidance, and a lot of people don't get that, you can see why a lot of this stuff is happening on this planet. A lot of the world leaders, their inner 8-year-old is acting out. Somebody took their marbles, so they're going to attack the planet. We're going to work through it. And you're seeing the rise of the divine feminine over the next 20 years. It is potent. It is, it has viscosity. It is a real thing. And that's for men too. Your intuition, your feeling nature, your divinity and your love in that way, that is all the feminine nature.
Yeah, there is really a powerful, you can feel it, the change in people and in the energy. And the more people collaborate and speak up, like we were talking about earlier, the more powerful it seems to expand.
Absolutely. And you hit on that. Another reason why there's so much disruption and anger is when we encounter that energy, it can show us what we're not. And that can be hard to take. It's like a parent going, you shouldn't have done that, or you might want to try to do that. And it takes a while to learn how to do it. That's why we are calling on our leaders to be calm. Try to be calm. Be forceful, be powerful, be calm, whatever you need to be. But be a leader. Lead yourself first. And we're asking for, I don't know how Canada runs the Constitution in the United States, constitutional laws. Those are values that we depend on. There are values, and we can't change the world away from what we did to make it the good part of it. So if you take all away that, then you don't have anything to go on. That's just my belief and my opinion, but we need that structure, this Saturn, this Capricorn. We need the structure to act in. It's like those games when I was growing up, ping pong, whatever, those, you'd pull something on the little, I'm not making any sense at all. They're not video games. You'd pull a lever back and a ball will go boing and it goes around. What do you call those darn things?
Pinball?
Yes, pinball. Thank you. There's a song about that, Pinball Wizard. So that needs structure. And to pull back the pinball and not have any structure, it'd be everywhere. And that's what's happening. We don't have the structures we used to have. They are falling away to be remade. Look at what artificial intelligence is going to do. It could heal all diseases. It could speed medicine, science, anything, communication up to a point that the world is so different we won't recognize it. It's also going to bring a lot of destruction and a lot of challenges because we are so emotional. And so, once again, good and evil are poured into the same cup and we drink it unaware. So we're going to have to learn new ways to communicate. When you go into a classroom, how can you send home a test? You can AI the answers. So things will change. And that's part of the disruption because we don't have the answers yet. And that takes time. But if we do that with the divinity of self-care, with the divinity of caring that we have a good outcome, we're going to be fine. We're going to be fine.
That's so true that changing the structures of how we do things, it's going to be messy and it's going to be uncomfortable. But if we go back to calm, you're calling for calm, and calm is the ultimate power because it's reasonable. So people can understand what you're asking of them. And so I think it's not stated enough how important it is to be calm.
It's like mud wrestling. You ever seen mud wrestling? Not that you need to, but that's what's going on. Things are covered up. They are illusion bound. They're diluted and it's messy and it's supposed to be because that's chaos. And from chaos comes change and there will be light that comes through that. The illumination is always there. But the way it is on this planet and the way it is on other places that have worked through that is the chaos has to disrupt the calm because the old way of being calm doesn't work anymore. I'm not June Cleaver, even though I'm a Montana housewife. I don't stand up there in 5-inch heels and cook my husband breakfast. Or so things change. The structures that we depended on are gone, even the material structures. And so it's no more one person at the top of the pyramid telling everybody what to do. Now we got people with voices, and we're going to join together and we're going to create a wonderful, magnificent world.
Oh, I look forward to that.
It's coming.
There's a lot of hope to hold on to and positivity in that outcome.
And as you say that, I hope people can feel that hope and that joy comes from the heart. And when it comes through the heart, when we speak it, it comes out there. And that's what we need to do, to find some way to speak our truth. It maybe start in the mirror, maybe start anywhere. That doesn't mean screaming and yelling, but sometimes screaming and yelling is necessary. Sometimes it is. But at some point, we're going to have to find a better way. So I'm holding out for that.
I am too. And we're going to keep talking about it, and we'll just talk it into being.
Yes, I like that.
And people who are listening it into being as well. And
yeah, it's those joy muffins we talked about the radio. So the joy muffin of find something that's hopeful, that golden thread of feeling good will lead you to something that's joyful. They said, give yourself a joy muffin. There's no calories in it.
right. And ZoliArt's full of joy muffins. If you go to ZoliArtMontana.com, look at the art, look at the writing and just the fun of it, and find the fun in your life. Find those joy muffins.
It should be fun. It should be. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Zoli.